Hello there. I was talking to a buddy of mine today, and I was told him about an idea that I had years ago that came to me. And it was about a book. It was called The Staff of Moses. In the Hebrew, The Staff of Moshe. Now we all know that Moshe was the one who brought all the Hebrews and the Arab rob, the mixed multitude, out of Egypt. He was Moshiach. He was anointed by the Almighty, called by the Almighty, chosen by the Almighty to bring the Hebrews out of Egypt. In fact, Joseph, before he passed away of blessed memory, he told his brothers that the Almighty was going to bring a Redeemer to them when it was time. And he said, when this happens, make sure you take my bones out of Egypt and bury me them in the promised land. So anyway, we're going to start off how it came to me. Moshe was up on Mount Nebo. He was looking all around the terrain, the area of which was known as the Promised Land, given to Abraham, his forefather, to Isaac, his forefather, and to Jacob, his forefather. And he's looking around and he's thinking, why did I hit the rock when the Almighty said to speak to it? Now, this is the second time. First time he was told to hit the rock, but the next time when they needed water and his sister Miriam had just passed away of blessed memory, the well dried up. No longer was it following them like it was before. You can read the story. It's in Genesis, Genesis, towards the end of Genesis, the Exodus. And he's looking around, and with that thought, and that thought occurred to me, what else would he be thinking of? Not just, why did I hit the rock? Why didn't I speak to it? And then he's thinking about, I'm not going to be able to make him to the promised land. Out of all these years, out of all this trouble, out of all this time, why did I screw up? I'm sure we've all thought about that once in a while. Well, this is the month of Elul, and we're in right now, and this is the time of reflection. Looking at things that pop right up in our face that we really don't want to deal with, yet the Almighty says, I want you to deal with it. In order to go into the new year, you need to deal with these situations. So anyway, Moshe is looking, and he says, okay, I got an idea. I've already asked the Almighty to let me go, and the Almighty said no, so I just have to accept the fact. Now the Almighty told him that he was going to die, and he would be with the Almighty, because he merited what he was supposed to do. All of a sudden, there's this cloud that descends from the sky, and he's looking up at it. How odd for a cloud to descend from the sky. And all of a sudden, it's like a portal opens up, a brilliant light behind this opening. And these two watchers, two malachim, or as you say in English, angels, pillars of light, because angels are static, they don't have knees, they don't bend, they don't move around. They're just right there, static. And there's this voice that speaks to Moses and says, Moshe, you are going to come back before the end of days. And you are going to bring all my people back to Israel. Now Moshe is kind of stunned at this, because he's told he's not going to be going into the promised land. So he thinks about this. I'm going to be coming back. Well, how can it be me, because it's supposed to be in the descendant of David? He knew about all this stuff. He was a prophet of all prophets. He was the leader of prophets. Everything he spoke on Mount Sinai, the people heard every prophecy that came from every Jewish prophet all the way down the road when he spoke at Mount Sinai. So he is looking at all the situation and saying, how can it be me? How can it be my body that comes back? I'm a Levite. I'm a Levi. How can I come back, and how can I be the one to bring your people back into the land of which I can't even go to? And the Almighty says, you, your essence, your soul, along with Joseph's soul, along with Yehoshua's soul, Joshua, the one who was going to take him into the promised land of Israel and fight all the battles and bring them in, and so on and so forth. You know the story. Your souls, all three of your souls, the essence is going to be in the body of a descendant of King David through King Solomon. Now, think about this. These guys haven't even been born yet. Okay? They're not even a thought in Moshe's mind. Probably not. Who knows, maybe back in the recess of the mind they're there. He knows of everything that's going on. He's the prophet of all prophets. So anyway, he says, okay. And so the Malakim, the watchers, say, come on inside, Moshe. We have to bury your body. Okay, no problem. So he goes in the portal, and boom! He's in another dimension. He knows about that dimension because he's gone through it when he went on to Mount Sinai. He went right up into the fire, it says. In the Hebrew it says, take off your sandals, for the ground you stand is holy. Well, that's not the word sandal, it's the word or, which means take off your skin. Your soul comes out of your skin. He's going into the fire. People see this. That's what happened at the burning bush. He ended up standing before the divine presence, the illumination of fire, pure holy fire. Okay, so he's standing before the same pure holy fire now, and he's going into the cloud, into the other dimension, maybe the vortex. Anyway, so he's got this staff. He's given it to Joshua. He's also one who was raised in the household of Pharaoh. So he knows all the secrets of Egypt. He was born circumcised. The brilliance of light when he was born represented he was circumcised. He was a goodly child. He was chosen by the Almighty. He was the chosen Moshiach. That's what the word Moshiach means, the anointed one. And so he was a prophet, the prophet of all prophets. He was a redeemer. He was a deliverer. He was a shepherd. And a great leader. The chief among leaders. So anyway, he's gone on this cloud. Many years down the road passes on. Someone comes along and they start reading in the text about Moshe. And they see in the text of Moshe it says, the Messiah will be born on the month of Av, the 9th of Av, the same day that the temple was destroyed. Because the Moshiach has to repair the breach of the first and the second temples and everything else that happened on the 9th of Av. Well, there's a couple of other incarnations that took place with Moshe. He was in the body of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And this is in our ancient writings, okay? He was the one who wrote the Zohar, the Book of Brilliance. He already wrote the Torah. It says in there, he wrote the Torah. It says nobody else wrote the Torah. It was Moshe who wrote the Torah. And he wrote the Book of Brilliance, which is the mysteries of the Torah. He also interpreted them. And then it's understood in the ancient writings that he was in the body of Rabbi Ari Kaplan, who also dealt with the Zohar, the Book of Brilliance. So we're looking at down the road. He's in these different reincarnations. And by the way, the word reincarnation is the Hebrew word transmigration of the soul. And it's commonly known among Kabbalists, it's commonly known among rabbis, and us observant Jews, there's some Jews that don't look at the situation of that, and that's okay. Doesn't bother us. Okay? It's not like we're not a religion, we're a way of life. So anyway, Moshe ends up, his soul ends up in the Moshiach. Jacob prophesied over Judah. Remember Genesis 49, 8 through 12. We've read it. It's in other parts of the videos that have been done. Shiloh, son of the dynasty of King David. Now, what's interesting is we haven't talked about Rabbi, Moshiach, Prophet, Pesach Eliyahu that much. He's in Israel right now fulfilling Malachi 3. A question that came to me from someone was, Israel has to go through this destruction. And I said, what destruction? And they said, Israel has to go through all this devastation. And I said, hold on. You're misunderstanding something. In the Hebrew, in Malachi 3, the Almighty says, if I don't send Eliyahu the prophet, then sudden destruction will come upon the land. Now, we all know right now that Pope Francis is going to be in the United Nations, either I think it's 24th or the 25th, whatever those dates, and he's going to attempt to start up the New World Order. You probably haven't heard this before, but that's okay. I have connections with people that I know who know about these things and hear about these things, and they bring them to me. Anyway, we have a good connection going. We have a good line of communication that takes place. Anyway, Moshe is known in Deuteronomy as the second coming. Moshiach, Rabbi, Prophet, Redeemer, Deliverer, Shepherd, Prince, Shiloh of the Davidic dynasty. That is known as the second coming. It is written in our ancient writings. We just haven't brought it out because we didn't want to desecrate it like everything else has been desecrated, which is known as abomination of desolation, if you want to say it that way. The word abomination means a very grotesque, gut-wrenching stomachache that you want to throw everything up that is causing that gut-wrenching stomachache. So that's the abomination, the word abomination. And desolation means they have taken our Torah and they have put it into another writing, the same with Muhammad. He rewrote the Torah and they called it the Quran. The word Quran means the retelling. It's the same as the word Deuteronomy, Devarim, the retelling. Except Devarim was retelling about the Torah and all the incidents that took place in Egypt to let the new generation know who was going into the Promised Land. Anyway, abomination of desolation was when they translated our Torah into a pagan language and took words out and twisted them around and did different things with punctuation, making it look really stupid and bad. Anyway, if you want to get a correct reading, you can get a JPS, Jewish Public Service Bible, or you can get a Stone's Edition Tanakh, the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. And you can also have part 2 of this video, Moshe's staff, in just a moment. Shalom.